What's up guys, Valence Ring here, and I wanted to bring you another video, a long overdue one perhaps, depending upon how you look at it. A lot of people have asked me quite often about basically sanctuary defense, and so I want to talk about that topic, especially as it pertains to your wall and your traps. And I do want to have a bunch of videos covering different aspects of your sanctuary as far as builds go, and covering the different buildings and what they do, and what's important about them and what you need to know. So this video is all about walls, your sanctuary defense, your traps, and things related to sanctuary battles. So let's go into the wall really quick. I do want to show you, this says, you can look in here and it says it's the first line of defense, upgrade to increase wall defense. Now, I'm going to take a step back actually and talk about other games. So there are a lot of player versus player sanctuary headquarters games related to the same type of gameplay, in which you have a sanctuary or headquarters that you must defend against attack from other players who will send marches out against you. And one of the biggest proponents or components of that battle is your wall defense. And of course, you not only have your wall, but your traps, which you can look in your trap factory here to see what types of traps you have. As you can see, I'm at the max level, which is, of course, Trap Factory level 29 unlocks the last of your traps. Now, each of these traps do affect a different type of troop. So now, in most games, when you are doing a sanctuary battle and someone marches an attack against you, they have to battle through not only the troops that you have as defense, but your wall and your traps. And this is sort of the case, I'll explain that in a minute, but sort of the case for puzzles and survival. The wall, as you can see here, my hit points on my wall is 28,400. It's maxed out. If for any reason I lose an attack or get hit, the wall damage will go down, and it depends upon a couple things, but I do believe it's actually set at 100. So as you can see here, if I was to not do anything and lose 284 times at 100 hit points on my wall lost each time, it would zero me out. Once the wall defense reaches 0, as you can see down here, then you will automatically be relocated. And this is partially for your protection, and it's also a way to move a sanctuary from an inactive player. So if a sanctuary is in a bad spot, let's say they used to be an active player and they since quit the game, or they're just no longer that active, but their sanctuary is in a spot that another alliance wants to build, then they can force port or force move that sanctuary by getting the wall defense all the way down to 0. Obviously, the longer they've been playing, the bigger their defense is, the longer this is going to take, and the more attacks it's going to take. However, each successful attack does drop the wall hit points 100 points. So now that's interesting, because if you see a lot of other games, the wall defense actually is either a larger number or it's more critical. So in other words, in some games, you have to break the wall defense down to 0 before you can actually technically raid the sanctuary or get anything out of it. In puzzles and survival, the wall does not apply the same. This is not the case. You do not have to damage the wall completely to be able to raid the sanctuary and get resources. In addition, the traps do not survive. Like in other games, the traps will be killed off as the wall is attacked, and usually the traps go first, and then the wall defense falls, and then you raid the sanctuary and kill off the rest of their troops, or whatever the case may be. This is not the same for puzzles and survival. And that's really important, because early on I didn't know that. And when I started building up my character and started building up my sanctuary, I focused a lot on defense. Actually, if you go in here and look at my fortification tree, you will see that everything is maxed out almost as far as I can be. Actually, I think it is maxed out. You can see here I'm capped. I can still take these up, but I'm waiting. And I can still take these up. Those open up with Research Center level 29. But as you can see, everything else is maxed out, because when I was early playing, I focused so much on wall defense, fortification, thinking that it made a huge impact on my gameplay. Let me dispel the myth. Your wall and your traps do not affect battles as much as they maybe could or should. And should, is a personal preference. The game is designed the way the game designers set it up. The wall and your traps do not have a drastic effect on the outcome of the battle. So you might say, well, I'm not worried about them then. I don't care. Well, you still should care at least a little bit. It is important to have a variety of traps. As you can see, these each target different types of troops. And they are effective in battle, but if you look at their stats, the attack stat, defense stat, and hit point stats aren't very high. Even the T4s, you can see the proximity mine only has 4 bars of attack, and the anti-sniper and the smart barricade. And these only target fighters, riders, and shooters, okay? And not necessarily in that order. But you can see what they do exactly up here. And this shows when they get unlocked. I'm sorry. At any rate, what type of troop it blocks is a good question. I do believe proximity mines are fighters. Your anti-snipers are obviously for your shooters, and smart barricades are for riders. And they might also affect vehicles, not just riders, but I believe they're predominantly geared against riders. So that being said, the traps do some damage. So the important part isn't that, anybody raiding your sanctuary doesn't have to overpower your wall nor your traps. They don't have to do that to raid your resources, and it's not going to make that big of an impact on your battle. However, in close battles, especially like if let's say you're a level 26 headquarters battling a level 26 headquarters, and you have similar stats, similar builds, and you're sending a regiment of troops at that sanctuary, then the wall and traps are going to make perhaps enough of a difference to swing the tide of battle. However, if someone has overpowered you, and let's say it's a 26 headquarters attacking a level 20 headquarters, then these are not going to make much of a difference. They are still going to have a slight impact, and that is good to know, but don't think that they're a tide turner. They're not going to be. Now, I have seen where there were battles that were very close, and I attacked someone that I thought hands down I should win, and their traps caused enough casualties and their wall held up, so to speak, enough defense that I actually lost the battle by a small margin. It took a second attack to get through. So the wall and your traps are important, but they do not play a critical role whatsoever in battle. And that, I think, is an important distinction to make. You do want your wall up, and if you are an active player, obviously your wall is going to have to match your headquarters regardless. You have to kind of build them up together. Every time your headquarters goes up a level, your wall normally has to go up a level before you can upgrade your headquarters again. So your wall is important, at least for building and growth goes. And it will prevent, let's say, you fall asleep during the middle of a war or something, and you start getting massively attacked, you don't have any more troops to defend, and you're just losing battles left and right. It'll help protect you from getting randomly ported out, but in the case that you are being overpowered and attacked constantly, it will take your sanctuary and port it out of the harm's way, so to speak, so that it'll kind of give you some protection from just constant abuse, and it'll allow force ports on inactive players. That is the primary purpose of the wall, as far as I can tell. Because you're only losing 100 hit points on the wall, it's not that big of a deal. Repairing the wall, putting out the fire, I think costs 20 diamonds, or you can let it time out. So not a big deal if you're on fire. Most people extinguish it with the 20 diamonds, which most people have at least 20 diamonds on hand. And then, of course, you have to repair the wall. The more damage it takes, the more you have to repair. But that just, again, prevents you from being force ported. The actual wall defenses themselves are not that significant. So while it is, like I said, to reiterate, it is important to have your traps up. I only usually create the minimum traps necessary per day to complete my daily quests. Outside of that, you do not need to speed them up or focus on them. Just let them build up slowly over time. There's plenty of time to have traps. And of course, there are certain quests. If you look in your quest log, for instance, that'll say military train, craft so many traps. And the number is 100,000. You can see I've actually crafted 98,428, even though my current trap count is only 78,000. So I've lost approximately 20,000 traps over the course of doing battles and getting hit on my sanctuary and losing battles and losing traps. So you do lose them and you have to rebuild them, but they are not a significant aspect of battle. And this unit advantage here actually shows you throwable traps impede rider units, arrow tower disrupt shooter units, and terrain traps incapacitate fighter units. So like I said, in a close battle, the traps will make a slight difference and can definitely help you, but you shouldn't push for them. You don't want to spend diamonds on them. You don't want to spend any real resources crafting them. And if you have to skip something, if it was a matter of, I have to build fighters or I have to build traps, don't build the traps. The troop units are going to be much more effective in battle. And that being said, also when you're looking at someone to attack them, I do believe your watchtower, if you have it leveled up high enough, will show you what types of traps they have. I can be honest, I never look at it when I do scout. I don't care what traps they have. It's not a significant enough portion of battle. Chances are, if the traps are going to make that much of a difference, I probably am not going to be attacking that person unless I have to. So that being said, guys, I hope that clarifies. That is your wall and your trap factory. You do want to level them up. You do want to pay attention to them, but you don't want to focus on them. There is no real benefit to doing so, and don't worry about them in battle. Repair your wall, put it out if it's on fire, repair it as needed. Build your traps slowly, just do enough to complete your daily quests, which are here. As you can see, you need 250, I believe down here somewhere, 250 traps for your daily quests. At any rate, do that, but outside of that, I wouldn't build any more traps than necessary. So I hope that helps, guys. That's everything I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if it helps. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And of course, hit the notification bells so that you are staying up to date. I post videos as often as I can regarding gameplay, tips and tricks. And I will be breaking down each building in the sanctuary as I can to let you guys know what you need to worry about. So as far as walls and traps go, don't worry about it. Do what you can. Build it up when you need to. Outside of that, set it and forget it, guys. Thank you.